muted now. Cool. Hi, my name is BethaLaRue, and what the fuck is spirituality? Ah! Okay, so I guess it's best to start at the beginning, because my introduction to spirituality, I was like my existence was, I was born into a very specific Christian religion that's quite well known. There's without getting into too many details about what it is, I guess the best that I could give you is that there's a musical made about it, and they ring doorbells at the beginning. So I was raised in this very strong, like, prominent religion, which is my first introduction to spirituality. So everything, and I mean, that's like almost my whole family, is a part of it in one way or another, or was at the very least. And you know, there were good things about it, but I don't know, it's hard to, I felt spiritual, but I never felt completely like I was good at that religion. Because there were things about it, like I was so free-spirited and all this stuff, and there's like required texts and all these other things to do, and I had other crap going on in my life that, you know, drew away from it, which is a part of it, right? When you have so much other crap going on in your life, and you don't feel, and you haven't already established yourself in a spiritual sense, like it's hard to feel dedicated, or you only feel dedicated when you have tough stuff going on, which is not the way it should work. Like, in my personal opinion, hey, Marie. Hey, Marie. You want to chill? Yeah. That isn't like, what I was saying is like, I don't know, I was in this religion because my family was in it, and everything that I started learning about it just didn't feel integral to who I was. Which isn't the point, right? The point of spirituality is that you're finding something that aligns with yourself, and that you feel whole. Like, it helps you, like, I don't know, maybe you don't always know that you're whole, but you are whole no matter what. And your spiritual path should dictate, like, not dictate, but validate that. And I didn't feel validated in this religion. So then we get on to the question, is religion spirituality? Because I almost feel like religion is just a rule book in order to discover spirituality, which is like, whoa, is that controversial? I don't know, because I mean, because spirituality is personal. Religion is like a general blueprint of how you should run your life based on a series of principles that other people make. And I mean, here's to say, so what I do believe is that there is a bigger universe, like there's a universal energy that unifies all of us. And whether you call it God, Heavenly Father, Allah, you know, anything in between, I feel like it's all the same. And I don't think that force is benevolent or malevolent. I think it just is. I think it, there's the idea of the alpha and omega and like the scale, and, in the particular spiritual path that I take now, there's a male and a female energy, and they both have good things and bad things about them. But the thing is that all those things balance each other out, and everything is a scale. So you have that scale, but I think there's a lot of emphasis in religion on there's good and there's bad and there's no gray area. But the thing is that the world and life on life's terms and everything in between is a giant gray area, because every bad guy thinks they're doing good and every good guy, is very sure that they're doing good, but to the bad guys, they're doing the bad things. So then you're just left with one giant gray area. Now, that's not to say that there isn't right and wrong, because anything that steals the agency of another person, I believe, is wrong. Don't harm other people and their free agency. Like, if you go outside of that realm, then no bueno to me. And I think that's where the line of right and wrong is. So, like things like, they have the 10 commandments and stuff, and one of those commandments is thou shalt not kill. Well, yeah, don't take away another person's life. Like, that's sacred, that's theirs. Like, that's not your choice. Yeah. Ugh. I don't know, just don't fuck with other people or other animals or other creatures. And I guess what I'm trying to say is that I have a lot of pent-up frustration about the way I was raised, and that I was told that I was given a choice, which we are all given a choice, but anytime I would ask questions, I would get a slap on the hand and be like, well, no one has an answer for that. Additionally, there's also a lot of other stuff going on in that particular, religion, where I was, to be frank, I was sexually assaulted and nothing was done. So there's a big history of all that going on, which is why I'm like, if you teach something, be honest about it. And don't make exceptions to the rule. I don't know. I don't know if any of that makes sense. My spiritual path has changed a lot lately. I'm diving into a new religion that I feel like is much closer to who I am as a person. I found it on accident almost, and it just kind of fell into my lap, because there's things in my everyday life that I'm already practicing that aligns with this religion. And so I'm just trying to take the right steps, to take the time to be able to explore that. But also to know that if a religion isn't for you and isn't feeding you spiritually, don't lock yourself in a hole. Don't just assume that because you're told that something is the only way, that it is the only way. Like, don't be unhappy in your spirituality, because if you're sitting there and you're like, I have all these questions, but I have no answers because all the questions that I'm asking have no answers, then go find your answers. Go find them. And also keep in mind that the answers that come to you may not be the answers that you want at that time. But But more importantly, like I said, if you ask a question and people are just downright like, we don't have an answer for that, why are you asking these questions? Like, if you are made to feel guilty for asking and for trying to expand your spirituality and for trying to just feed yourself, nourish yourself in a way that food cannot, don't let people shame you out of feeding yourself. Go find it somewhere else. Because obviously those people cannot help you. And that's kind of what I did in a very slow way. And I wish I had done this earlier, to be honest. I spent a lot of time feeling guilty for wanting something different from the well in which I was trying to seek my spiritual guidance from. If that makes sense. I felt guilty because I was like, if this is supposed to be where I'm supposed to be, which is what I had been told my whole life, then why aren't I happy? There's something wrong with me because I'm not happy with my current spiritual path, which isn't true. So only just recently in the last year have I been like, you know what? I don't need to feel guilty about this. There's a lot of things that I don't agree with when it comes to this specific religious and path that's putting out a spiritual pathway that isn't for me. And it takes a lot of love in yourself to be able to do that. Not to say that oh my gosh, I am the example of self-love, because I'm not all the time. But I've been working on it. And that's the important part. Looking into your spiritual paths and things like that, that is a sign of self-love, which is a part of your spiritual growth, right? Loving yourself, especially if you show so much love to other people but you don't love yourself. It's not to say that the love that you give is invalid, because that is not true. The love that you give is 100% valid, even if you don't love yourself as much as you love others. However, you are worthy of that love. And that's something that I discovered this year, is that I am worthy of the love that I give other people. So why am I pigeonholing myself in a spiritual path that I'm unhappy in? So I started looking into other things, and this other spiritual path dropped into my lap. I've also been reading and listening to a lot of Brené Brown, who is amazing. Please look into her. She's incredible. I also have friends that have recommended tons of different books and podcasts and stuff. Go look for those things. Help yourself spiritually so that one day maybe you can feel that love for yourself, because you can do acts of love for yourself without loving yourself. Allow yourself to be flexible with your spiritual growth, because your spirituality is not your religion. Your spirituality is not defined by your religion. You don't need a religion to be spiritual. A religion is just a guidebook, a blueprint. And a lot of people need that. Bless you. That's my cat. A lot of people need that guidance, and that's okay. But if you're one of those people who are like, conventional religion is not the guidebook that I need right now, don't suffer. Don't suffer just because someone told you that's the way you're supposed to suffer. You know yourself better than they do. And if you end up going back and it's what you need at that time, that's awesome. But if you don't need that now, go find your path. Go find your happiness. That's what I did. I went out and I found a different path, and it's working for me right now. It feels good. I feel less anxiety. I feel less pressure to be this certain kind of person, the Pollyanna, which is, I grew up my whole life being that. And it was weird because for a while, I didn't think my personality was mine. I thought my personality was a product of my religion that I was in. And because I had to act that way. And that's not true. So yeah, feed yourself in a way that food can't. Don't rely on other people to feed you. Because at the end of the day, you're the only person you got. There are other people to help you, but you're the only person who can feed you in your spirit. Because it's yours. It belongs to you. It lives inside you. It doesn't live in anyone else. So yeah. Not to say that other people can't feed you, but you gotta go look for it. So that's what I'm doing. Yeah. I'm happy with that. I'm happy with where my spirit is going. And you should be happy too.